Yeah. Just kind of touching back on the sustainability aspect of it. I think that there's many different things that one can do to improve their health or to lose body weight or to get in shape or build any kind of muscle. I think most of it does work to varying degrees. It's just if you are consistent with it. It's if you are, yeah, if it's in something that works for you, if it's your flavor of it, and then if it's something that you can repeat easy without negative mental or physical side effects.
Mm.
And that's really kind of what I ended up finding inside of the carnivore diet, right? I know people that they do all there's so many different ways to pursue your fitness. It's something that really stuck out to me. I was at my heaviest, just kind of fast forward to the beginning of this year. It was late December, it was January. I had actually recently been laid off from my job of the last 8 years. I just wasn't in a really good mental place, and my diet, my lifestyle kind of taken like a downhill spiral, and I decided that I needed to pull myself out of that, and like enough's enough, and we need to kind of turn a page on that, right? So, I initially planned to just do kind of like a 30-day like carnivore diet just to kind of do like a detox of processed foods. I didn't plan to start this as like a lifelong thing. I done a little bit of research into it, and there's so many different conflicting opinions as far as carbohydrates. Are they good? Are they bad? There's people that do carb loading for lifting days. They do carb deficits. I've done the keto diet as well. I had a lot of success on that. It just wasn't sustainable for me either. There was a purity about how I wasn't eating, I guess, that just didn't make it worth it for me because I did it in the wrong way in the sense that I went for just a lot of sausage. I went for a lot of like fat heavy processed food
Mm.
that wasn't like natural or a whole food, right?
Mm.
So for me, it just didn't last well. Like I lost about 30 to 40 pounds, but then the moment I stopped doing that, it came right back.
Mm.
But I didn't feel good on it. I didn't feel energetic. It felt it was I just kind of felt hollow a lot on it. I don't know if that's a weird way to kind of describe it, but for me, that's just kind of what the experience was. And then uh, January, I decided to start doing the carnivore diet, and I only plan to do it for 30 days just to get some of the gunk just out of my system, let my body kind of detox off of processed foods, the pizza, the Taco Bell, the energy drinks, whatever it was.
Mm.
And then in the first month, I mean, really the first 3 to 4 weeks, like, I was down close to 20 pounds. And then, I was pushing from a 2X shirt into a 3X shirt. And so then I was able to kind of go back and wear a lot of my 2X stuff again. And so like it really hit me like one, my energy levels were amazing. My skin looked clear. My hair felt better. I wasn't. It took me probably 2.5 weeks to really get acclimated to it all. A lot of people deal with a lot of cravings and they deal with a lot of side effects that are associated with like your body becoming fat adapted. Um, and I was able to navigate that relatively quick to a lot of other people I've known that have been able to kind of get into this type of a lifestyle. But I mean, for me, it was like week 3, and then I was just hooked. So I meant to do it for 4 weeks, and then 3 weeks in, I'm seeing all of these different benefits. And for me, it's like I think that probably the thing that was the final nail in the coffin for it was that I there's all these different stereotypes that eating clean and healthy is more expensive than if you eat trash because
Mm.
you can go get a $5 pizza at like a smaller chain here, and it's just cheap and it's greasy and it's not good, and it's 98% just like the cheapest bread that you could possibly have that's made
Mm.
terribly.
Mm.
And then I realized that as I was going through this, my hunger was lessening. I would just eat whenever I was hungry. I'd stop whenever I was full. and I wouldn't think about it past that point.
Mm.
And so my cost per meal increased because I was eating a higher quality of meat per meal, but
Mm.
the amount of meals I had in a day decreased.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I ended up saving money through it.
Mm. Mm.
Um, and so it's like people often mentally, like if we are talking about price, people will often make a distinction in between here's the money that I spend at the grocery store versus here's the money that I'm eating out with. And it's almost
Mm.
like they're two different categories of money spent, but it's all food. So
Mm.
I'm not eating out anymore at all. And then the amount of money I'm spending at the grocery store is ultimately going down because I'm eating fewer meals. And then
And
the
I, and
things
I,
I eat.
and I'm sure you're not wasting any food either.
No, no, no. You eat a steak, you eat the whole steak. If it's too much,
Mm.
then you cut it appropriately for
Mm.
the specific portion size. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas if you buy like a shitload of variety food, more than likely you're going to be dumping half of it by the end of the week.
Especially anyone that has kids here, like, you fix your kids a plate, they eat like three things off of it, and then they just dump like the whole thing.
Mm.
So yeah,
Mm.
food costs can kind of creep up. I think for me it was really an eye-opening experience of just the mental clarity that I had on a very high protein diet as
Mm.
well. And I started to just really kind of experiment with just spending more time in, dare I say it, the sunlight or touching
Mm.
grass or trying to go
Mm.
outside and just like get some movement back in.
Mm.
And so all that stuff kind of combined, those shavings made a huge pile. And for me, it's like, it's not even so much about like I don't have a war on carbohydrates. That's not what my thing is. There's a lot of individuals out there that like that's their purpose. It's to shout carbs down.
Mm.
And I've removed them from my life and I've had nothing but benefits. But I have a friend of mine that just has a condition to where he doesn't process fat well. So
Mm.
carbohydrates is like a necessary thing for, at least that's his belief system about himself, and he's doing his own thing. But
Mm.
I think that ultimately what this showed me was just is getting away from all of the processed foods. It's
Mm.
getting away from the hamburgers and the candy and the buck and the box dinners and the things that you would normally consume that have an ingredient list that's that long, but it's
Mm.
touted as healthy or a diet or protein
Mm.
or low fat or
Mm.
whatever it is, but it's nothing but just processed chemicals.
Mm.
I think anything that you can do to remove that kind of stuff from your life and from your diet, I think that's huge.
And I
And
think,
then
yeah, 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 yeah. And I think what you mentioned about the processed food, we all know that how processed food is bad for us. And like any diet that you go on, whether it's vegan, paleo,
mhm,
Mediterranean, anything like that, anything that removes processed food, I think we can all agree that should be a number one priority. But then it's like okay, when you struggle like with yourself with the calories, the hunger, the cravings, that's when we need to look at the diet. Okay, why do you still have these hunger issues? Why can you not just lose weight and continuously lose weight? Whereas a lot of people would lose the weight, they go into this form of restriction, and then they're like, okay, I've lost the weight. Now what do I do? I've restricted myself for so long. Now I'm going to go out at the weekend. I'm going to eat that junk food again. And then what happens is 2 months later they feel guilty and they're like, okay, I need to go on a diet again. So you're seeing this constant every year. You'll lose the weight, you'll gain
yeah,
the weight, you'll lose the weight. It's never consistent. Never.
yeah, yeah. No, you are absolutely right. I think that a big thing there is, and this is where I went wrong whenever I was younger and I was really trying to get in shape. I it was this thing to where I did a good job of losing the weight, building my muscle, building frame, and then now I was this really lean, jacked guy. But I just ran so hard at that one goal, I didn't know what to do once I got there.
Mm.
So then, like, I'm here, I'm fit, I had the six pack, I have lost. It was at that point, it was like 60 pounds. So it's
Mm.
like it's an awesome accomplishment. How do you maintain that? how do you like take a step back from saying, okay, I do not have to just run as hard and fast as I can towards weight loss. What
Mm.
does maintenance look like? What does healthy maintenance
Exactly,
look
yeah.
like? And then how do you make it sustainable? I had no clue of what that was. So of course
Mm.
I got comfortable, I got into a relationship, and then I gained it all back, you know. And I think that me having had that failure in the past is kind of um I know where I missed it the first time. So then this trip around, I think that it's something that I was experimenting with this last week or month was like, what does a sustainable diet on here look like? You know,
Mm.
and it's very different than if you're just running really, really hard, trying to just lose as much weight as humanly possible.
Mm.
So it's like, I feel like I kind of figured out where the boundaries are as far as you can play it loose, as far as like, there's so much about when you should and should not eat inside of a day. So like have all of your meals completed by 6 p.m. so that whenever you
Mm.
go to bed, your body's not digesting anything.
Mm.
You can focus on good quality sleep, which is a huge component of just your overall health and wellness. For me, like, if I eat a little bit later, if I'm trying to maintain, that seemed to have not knocked me off my
Mm.
game, you know. But then there's still about 20 pounds that I'm trying to cut. So I decided this last week to lock it in again and really just kind of move off of any kind of like, um, uh, how would I say it? Um, I've been buying a lot of like kind of like pre-boiled eggs at Sam's or like rotisserie chickens or like these things that are carb free that
Mm.
are healthy whole foods, but like there's still a lot of sodium in there, and
Mm.
they're still kind of like they are carnivore technically. They fit the
Mm.
criteria, but they still have been kind of prepared and
Mm.
they've been treated. I've noticed that my weight loss stalls whenever I'm on those things.
Mm.
And the real true goodness of this is just like the whole cuts of meat, whether it's ground beef or steak or chicken or whatever it is, but just like the real, if it's going to expire in 3 days, that's the kind of stuff that you should probably be eating. If it's going to lapse on a shelf for like a month or so, then I don't know. So
But
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, like I think from my point of view, because I work with an awful lot of people that are obese, and usually what we see at the very beginning is a massive huge drop in weight. Like at the very
Mhm.
beginning, you're losing like 12, 13 pounds, like literally every week. And we need to understand that what you're burning is glucose. You're burning sugar. That's what you're
Mhm.
doing. You're burning all the excess
Yep.
carbohydrates out of your body. It's not body fat. When you get down to maintenance where you are right now, that's when you're focusing on losing body fat. So
Mhm.
that's why things are still slowing down, and you're probably still going through the healing process. But someone is like, say, 300 pounds, even heavier, you've got to remember this: if you go on like a standard diet, like the carnivore diet, you're gonna lose a lot of water weight at the very beginning. Like
Yep.
you're gonna be standing on the scales, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, I've lost 20 pounds in a week. But we need to understand that that's not body fat. That's just water.
Right.
You're just burning, as I said, you're just burning excess sugar. It's only when you get down to, as I said, when you get down to where you are right now, you're getting very close to your ideal weight. So it's natural that things are going to slow down. But now what you need to do is just be consistent, and you need to track your macros, because when you get down to this level of body fat, okay, it's not about like just eating as much as you want and eat until you're full and stuff like that. You still have to track your macros. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. That's not a part of it that I've gotten into yet. But that's something that I've done in different stages of my life whenever I was doing different health initiatives, right? I think that in the same way that you would track your finances, just understanding what's coming in, what's going out,
Mm.
etc. Like I think that that's a huge component of just identifying where you are in relation to what your goals are. You know, my professional background is in sales is in sales and marketing, specifically around tech. So it's like understanding that if you can't measure it, then you can't change it. You can't
Exactly.
alter it, right? So like you
Yeah.
have to understand where are you headed for, and then what's your inputs and your outputs.
Yeah.
And your diet and health is no different whatsoever. I
Yeah.
haven't made it to that point where I feel the need to yet. This has just been kind of more of a loose, like, let's work on just getting your sleep right. Let's work on getting your water right. Let's work on doing the right things consistently. Um, and then the progress has just been happening. So it did slow, but I noticed that with me removing some of the no sugar energy drinks, me removing like the pre-boiled eggs or like those types of things, I've started to drop again, and so the weight loss is trending back where I want it to, but I've also tightened up things as well. And for
Amazing. So
me,
you,
oh, sorry,
no, you go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that for me, like proper sleep,
Mm,
I cannot stress that enough. Whenever you're getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep because you're staying up late watching TV or you're out partying or whatever it is, right? Your body's just not able to repair, to process, to do the things it needs to do in order to regulate your weight and your muscle and
mm,
just your overall health. So sleep,
yeah.
I mean, just I cannot stress enough. Proper sleep is just a cornerstone of just your overall health. Period, regardless of diet. Just sleep,
Mm,
get enough.
hmm. Yeah, it's the whole circadian rhythm thing, isn't it? It's just like getting into a routine as like quick as possible. Let your body just shut down. Let your body wake up naturally. That's the way we should be doing.
Yeah, and I think that there's something there as far as like I've had a lot of friends that have come up and asked me, and it's one of the reasons why I decided to launch the Brown and Pound channels. It's like I can't go to like the grocery store without
Mm,
cashiers. I know they're thinking, "Oh my God, dude! Like, what happened to you? You're half the man that you were like a year ago."
mm.
For the record, year to date, I've lost 71.6 pounds,
Amazing,
and I started January 7th. So
amazing.
I'm about 6 months into it. Um, and then there's been a lot of people come up and ask me about how I did it, and I'm having conversations, and I've had many friends that have gotten on board with me. A few of them are still doing it. Some of them have fallen off, but some some of the big, I guess, pushback is the level of restriction that the carnivore
Mm,
involves, and then it's based around what you can't do.
mm,
It's like the objections come with what you can't do, and for me, it's like every shirt that I own in my closet
mm,
fits. I'm in the best physical shape I've been in inside of 10 years. My energy is amazing. My mental clarity is amazing. And there's all of these benefits I've noticed from a health perspective. I'm not counting the cost of how many Oreos I didn't get to have
mm,
that day. It's like I think that people have a perspective of like if they have to give up something, if they have to say no, that then it's almost like there can be a rebellious aspect to it. Excuse me, to where it's like, oh well, I'm being forced to do this, or I have to do this, and so it's like I can't go out and party, or I can't stay up late watching TV or something because I have to get sleep, or I have to eat only this. And I'm sitting here thinking, you're telling me that if I eat steak every day and then go to bed by a decent time and drink some water,
mm,
that I can get mobility back, that I can get energy back, that I can get my
mm,
strength back, that the body dysmorphia I have is going to lessen, or my confidence is going to go up, my overall health. And then lifting weights in the gym today at 228 versus 300, it's just the same motion of even doing like a bench press feels different whenever you
yeah,
have that less amount of body weight on you, right?
yeah.
So like to me, that's kind of like a level of mental fortitude of like there's the stuff you're giving up, and you can focus on the glass half empty, or you can focus on it half full. What are you getting?
Mm,
What are you getting for it? And to
exactly.
me, like it's not even a conversation. It's like done and done. I will pay that price twice over.
But I think it's important to understand that when people say that I'm not prepared to give this up, we need to understand why you're actually talking this way. And this is where we talk about food addiction and sugar addiction, because people don't realize that they have it. A lot of people that I talk to, they don't realize that sugar addiction is real. They're like,
Hmm.
you know what? No, this I like the way we were taught about the food pyramids or carbohydrates. These are all just natural foods. Like these should be all part of the diet. But this is the biggest factor people have when they're going on a diet is the hunger. The
Yeah.
hunger, those insulin spikes. It's like, okay, why am I getting these regular crashes, these regular jumps throughout the whole day? And this is where we're eating it's not just down to carbohydrates, as I mentioned there, or sorry, processed food, like I mentioned earlier on. It's down to the amount of sugar that we're taking in. So if you're taking in too much sugar, you're never going to be able to switch off those insulin levels. And if your
Right.
insulin is too high, you're blocking the body from burning fats. So yes, what's going to happen is you're going to gain weight, but you've got to remember this: it's not body fat; it's just excess water. So if your body's retaining a lot of fluid and inflammation that we don't want, is it not just better, instead of going to the gym and becoming insulin sensitive, just to remove the problem in the first place? Just remove the carbohydrates, remove the vegetables, and people need to understand this as well, that regardless of what sugar you're having, whether it's coming from complex carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates, fruits,
Oh,
natural sugars, they all impact the body the exact same way. The exact same way. There is no difference, guys.
man, as far as like the cravings go, I forget who it was I heard that was talking about this, but it was another person on YouTube, and they made a statement saying, if you think you're hungry, go eat a bite of meat.
Yeah.
If you're still hungry, then you're gonna if you're actually hungry, then you're gonna keep eating.
Mm,
If suddenly that doesn't sound good to you, then what you're dealing with is a craving,
mm,
right? And so a friend of mine had started carnivore, I don't know, 4 months ago or so, and she just had all of these insane cravings constantly, and it would make her very emotional, and it was just this big thing for her. And then so like she would ask me about it. I was like, okay, go eat some ground beef.
mm.
I know that you prepped it already. It's in your refrigerator. You told me this. Go in there and get some ground beef. And she would take one bite and she would just be like, I don't want this. So then what you're dealing with is not hunger. You're dealing with cravings. You're dealing with a
Exactly.
withdrawal from carbohydrates or sugar or however all of
Yes.
that is metabolized. So and so then I really started to do some research into like the fast food industry, especially in America. You were up there in Dublin, right?
Mm,
So in America, I love America, but one of the things that we do terribly is our sense of is our standards for processed food. They are
mm,
so low, it's ridiculous.
mm,
And so many chip or candy or these parent companies will hire like human biologists to study taste buds to like
mm,
figure out like which one is going to stimulate the biggest dopamine response.
mm,
How do we trigger you in the best way? There are
mm,
certain products that have been engineered and designed. Satiation, the feeling of being full, is triggered by the presence of protein and by the act of chewing.
mm.
So, also, crunch is something that will trigger a dopamine response as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, we have certain foods that are manufactured to give you an initial crunch. You get the dopamine hit, and then they melt in your mouth.
Mm.
And so now they're not triggering satiation, but they have triggered dopamine.
But you're making
Now you don't get
you've actually made a good point there. Sorry for interrupting, but you've
okay.
actually made a very, very good point there, because when you look around at like simple things like TV, you go to the cinema, you hear these things on the radio, you hear the crunch, you watch an ad on TV, you see like a pizza ad or something like that. It's in your face. So
Yeah,
it's increasing that dopamine hit straight away. So that's why when you watch these ads, it's like, oh, now I fancy a pizza, or now I fancy a bar of chocolate, or if
yeah,
I'm listening to something, um, let's say I'm driving home in the car and I hear that crunch noise, let's say Pringles or crisps or something like that. When I go into the garage and fill up my car, I'm actually gonna have a packet of crisps. So because you've increased that dopamine hit, and you're not allowing those receptors to come down a little bit. So once they're too
right.
high, that's when you're in trouble.
Right. Neural pathways have been formed in your brain that have taught you, just like a mouse in a maze. If you go here, you get the dopamine hit. If you hear that sound, if you hear the crunch, if you get that smell, it it, it it's like you are pre-wired to go after that same thing. And this is done on purpose. There's intelligent design behind it in the name of selling more product. If you have a product that will not trigger satiation but will trigger a dopamine hit in you, you're more likely to eat 5 bags than 5 pieces,
Yeah,
right? And so for me, it's like seeing the amount of just I think manipulation is too tame of a word for what that is. Seeing the social engineering that's going into that, the manipulation, often psychology employed for it as well to herd us around like like we are the product for them, right? Like whatever they can do to get us to buy more of their stuff, regardless of the detriment to our bodies, to our mental state. That is something that is like once I saw that, I can't unsee that. And so now, because you're aware of it, now you have to make a decision. Are you going to, you're aware of it, so that means that you are accountable for it, right?
yes,
So are you going to continue to go down that road? Are you going to continue to be a cog in that wheel?
yeah,
And for me, it's like I can't let myself be used in that way. And then
exactly.
that level of self-respect or just self-love is bigger than what cravings do I have. It's like, yeah, I would love to go have a pizza. Pizza tastes great. It just does. That's just a fact of life. But I understand that this is an industry that designed this product. They've spent years revising their recipe, increasing the ratio of salt to sugar to develop the perfect crunch to prey on me for
Yes,
my
yes.
detriment for
And I,
their love. Yeah,
I was just going to add one more point as well. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but this is why that when people are looking at these foods and they're trying to be disciplined, they're saying like, no, I don't want these foods. It's never going to last because they haven't given up that sugar. So
yeah,
it's like saying to an alcoholic, okay, listen, you're going to give up the alcohol. You might do it for a week or two, but then those cravings are going to kick back in. Whereas when you shut that off, like you really shut all those cravings off, you shut off the hunger, you understand why you have these cravings in the first place. Like you mentioned, if you just focus on just eating a steak on its own, trust me, you're not going to eat anymore. You're going to be full. You're going to know what fullness feels like. And I think
yeah.
that's where we're going wrong because the type of food that we're telling people to eat, there's the problem right there. Whereas if you say to somebody, I think the biggest problem people have is this. Like the biggest problem I had when I started carnivore was, do I just eat a steak on its own? Like there's nothing else on my plate. It's just a steak.
Yeah.
I can't possibly just eat this and I'm gonna be full. Like in my mind, I'm used to looking at my plate and having the colors of the rainbow, the
Right, right.
vegetables, the
3 to 4
carbs,
different
everything.
things there. Yeah.
Yeah. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, straight away, it's not big enough. But then when you start eating the food and you take every bite, it's sending a signal to the brain, okay, I'm getting full. I'm getting really, really full now. Okay, and now I'm satisfied. There's been times when I've had a steak and I wouldn't be able to finish it. And you're talking to somebody that used to eat 9 meals a day. I used to eat like every 2 hours. Every 2 hours, I had a ferocious appetite. And the one thing I thought I could never give up was my hunger. I was like, no, it's impossible. But now
Yeah.
I've had times now where you put like a big like ribeye in front of me. There's been times I wouldn't be able to finish it.
Same, same. Yeah. So for anyone who's interested in starting the carnivore diet, what I would always say is this: give it 30 days strict. Anyone can do anything for 30 days, but give it 30 true strict days. Go through the process, go through the withdrawals. Once you detox off sugar and carbohydrates and you get all that flushed out,
Mhm.
and then your body's really it's running on fat, it's running on ketone bodies, and
Mhm.
then at that point, you hunger feels different to you. Your cravings are going to feel different. Your entire concept of what cravings, hunger, your ability to stick with this, it will change. Let
Mm.
yourself change. Be willing to whenever you're on this side of it, you're like,
Mm.
this is how I am. This is how I think. And you think that it'll be the same once you get to the other side. It won't be. I promise you. Things
Exactly.
are going to shift in the way that you perceive every addiction or craving that you have now. It is going to change.
Yeah.
It will get easier. Then the results start. The mental clarity starts.
Mm.
And if you're like me at all, just realizing that you kind of got out of the food matrix and you're
Mm.
no longer bound to it, that's freedom. In America, both the pharmaceutical company, I'm sorry, the pharmaceutical industry and the fast food industry here are worth, depending on the year, about 500 to 600 billion dollars a year.
Mm. Mm.
Where I live, in the great state of Oklahoma, within 5 miles of me, all of the new businesses built in the last probably 2 to 3 years, they are all fast food,
Mm.
convenience stores full
Mm.
with sugary drinks,
Mm.
urgent cares,
Mm.
or maybe a liquor store.
Mm.
But like that's really all that they're building. So
Mm.
so so people talk about, like, yeah, the city's expanding and they're growing. All they're doing is they're building more fast food in hospitals.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
then realizing I have found a way to step out of that.
Yes.
I'm not even playing that game.
Yes.
And I think that one of the um back in the day, I used to manage a gym in Florida, and I really wanted to become a personal trainer. I really wanted to get into the fitness industry, and I was going to go be a trainer in Miami, and that was going to be where like my life went. And I spent a year working managing a gym, and it I really got to see more about how the industry works, how it's profitable,
Yes.
and it hit me how predatory that it truly is.
Mm.
And so it's like and this is why I think people struggle with such basic concepts like eat meat and don't eat
Mm.
junk. It's like we've been conditioned as a society that progress and good things, they come in
Mm.
the form of a silver bullet that someone just found.
Mm.
Someone has now unearthed, discovered this new silver bullet answer. And it's
Mm.
always in the form of a pill, of a powder, of a membership, of a program. There's money attached to it. There's a
Mm.
product to buy.
Mm.
And if you will buy this product, that's going to be the secret. That's going to
Exactly.
be what it is. It's
Mm.
sensational. It's sexy. It's attractive. People will put, like, get different spokespeople on there that are just in killer shape and they look amazing. You'll
Mm.
have these testimonials that are like in a very controlled situation,
Mm.
perfect, perfect, the perfect scenario designed to breed a specific result, and then they'll use that as like the flagship of like here's what the results of this are. Um, and I, but that's all that is just marketing. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
It's a
100%. Like
product
that,
to sell.
that's the one thing that really annoys me about the gyms, and that's why I don't work in gyms anymore because of that reason. But you still see it. Like I worked the last time I worked in a gym was around 25 years ago. But now you still see people when they walk inside the gym. They see the women, they look amazing. You see the men, they look amazing. They have the abs, and automatically they think, okay, these people are extremely healthy. They're extremely healthy. Okay. And then what really annoys me is when these people go into the gym, they're overweight and these PTs have them running on a treadmill. Like you're talking, it's
Yeah.
just like it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And I'm looking at these and I'm like, have we not learned anything in the last 20 years? Like, why are we not teaching people nutrition first?
Right.
When I was in college 20 years ago, I was taught nothing about nutrition. Very, 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 very little. I was only taught about the food pyramid. I was taught about anatomy, like personal training, weightlifting, all that kind of stuff. But we did very, very minimal training on nutrition. Very, very
Well,
minimal
that's not the
training.
product that the gym is selling, though. The gym is
Exactly.
selling their facilities. They're selling a membership. They're selling their personal trainer fees. That's what they are selling.
Exactly.
Maybe they
Yeah.
have a nutrition coach. I don't know. Maybe, but
Mm.
yeah. So it's all wrapped up into what are they trying to sell you?
Mm.
And that's something, man, if you just follow the money, then you'll see people's intentions behind everything. And I
Mm.
think that one of the reasons why we don't have good studies on like the carnivore diet, we don't have good studies on these whole food diets is because there's not much. How are you going to recapitalize the beef industry?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of already tapped. I mean, people eat beef. Beef is in all restaurants and fast food everywhere. So it's
Mm.
like it's already there. There's nothing new to sell. There's no new money to make there. So
Mm.
you really
Mm.
can't do anything. But what if you have, there's companies that they make low carb keto snacks in the shape of like a potato chip or
Yes.
familiar candies and cookies that we've all had, and like I've tried those and the list of ingredients is this long
Mm.
and you can't pronounce any of those words. And this
Mm.
is being sold to you as like low carb keto and it's great and it's this and it's that, but that's just another sensationalized product. And and the reason why I wanted to start talking more publicly on more of a public stage about what carnivore was is because I would go it, the name Brown to Pound was really cheesy because it's like, I'm just standing there in my kitchen, have a pound of ground beef and like a skillet and like I'm browning it, and that's gonna be my food for the day and it's gonna be great. But it's
Mm.
not sexy, it's not attractive, it's not
Exactly.
sensational. But it's
Mm.
the most effective thing I've ever done in my 32 years
Yes.
of life is something that simple. And I
And
just
how
feel
can
like,
how can you argue against that? Because like you've lost a lot of weight in 6 months. You look incredible. Your energy's so much
thank you.
better. You've reversed pretty much your health conditions. You're a lot healthier. This is what I just don't understand. This is why when I do a lot of these podcasts and I do a lot of these Instagram lives, and I only do them because I want to hear your story because
Yeah.
I have my own story. Whereas if we want the community to grow, we just need to get these people out there and say, well, listen, hang on a second. This has changed my life. This is not a fad. Like you need to listen to me. I've spoken to people that have reversed many conditions. Now, when I say reversed,
Yes.
I'm talking about you're putting them into remission. I'm not stating here that I'm a doctor. I'm just stating the facts that a lot of people I've worked with over 200 people in 4 years since I've been carnivore 4 years, and in that
Nice.
4 years since I've coached this way, I can tell you right now, over 200 people have not just got in shape, they've reversed so many conditions. They've reversed type 2 diabetes, their
Yes.
PCOS,
Yes.
endometriosis, fibromyalgia, joint
Yep.
pain, and the list. Mental health is huge, huge. Menopause. And as I said, I didn't learn any of this shit in school. I didn't learn any of this. I learned this off people like yourself, studying this shit for the last 4 years. I've listened to the likes of Ken Berry, Dr. Shafee, Dr. Kills. I have studied these people non-stop. I have done more research on this diet in 4 years than I've ever done on any diet in my life because I know from listening to people, testimonial after testimonial after testimonial. It's like, hang on a second, you cannot say that this is a fad diet. You need to listen to people like Robbie's story. You need to listen to what he's been going through. He tried all his life to lose weight. He couldn't sustain it, and now he's telling the story now that what actually works. And the thing is, people will turn around and say that you're just one out of a million. It's not possible. It's still not possible.
Yeah, no, I think that probably the biggest criticisms that I've gotten, and I think that there's three of them, right? It's like one, and this is the worst argument in the world. If anyone ever comes up and says, "Well, what are you gonna do whenever you stop? Are you
Mm.
just gonna gain all of that weight back?" It's like
Yeah.
the mental headspace you were in whenever you asked that question was just not quite aligned, right? Imagine if you had a friend who was an alcoholic
Mm.
and like you, he got sober for 4 years.
Mm.
He spends 4 years being
Mm.
sober. He's
Mm.
been going to AA. He has this sober coin, and then you go up and you ask like, "Hey, what are you going to do whenever you have that first shot of whiskey?"
Mm.
What? You don't
Exactly.
understand. Like I spent
Exactly.
years getting sober. I am
Yes,
clean.
yes,
I am away from that. And you think I'm just going to go and like just decide to have another shot of whiskey?
exactly,
Dude, I'm never
exactly,
going back to that.
exactly,
And
exactly.
it's not even about like, again, I don't want to pigeonhole myself into the, anti this or anti that. I'm just trying to speak to like what I've done and what works for me and what my story has been. And if you think I'm gonna live the last 6 months of my life and then like have the progress that I've had, have seen the other side of this coin, and then
Yeah,
just go back and have some more of it whenever I'm decide that I'm done with it. Well, that's not how getting clean works. And whether it's
exactly.
sugar or it's more of an addictive drug, I mean, I don't. You explain the difference in between narcotics and sugar, how they affect the brain, how they affect brain waves and patterns. Explain that difference. There's almost none. They're near identical.
Mm.
There's that. Then there's always the argument of LDL. There's cholesterol, and that's like a moving target as far as like opinions and medical standards. Um, I've also incorporated fasting a lot too. I've done intermittent fasting. I've done a 3 day fast. I've done a 5 day, and I've done a 6 day. And I had a buddy of mine that there's a video that I'm meaning to post. It was 2 days before I started. I started Carnivore. We were hanging out at a fancy football party, and I was doing a cold plunge. So like I'm shirtless, and I'm 300 pounds, and I'm like chugging beer, and I'm eating chicken wings, and it's just this big thing. Like it's literally me at rock bottom as far as like my health goes. And my buddy was there, and he was talking to me. He's like, "Hey, you're on day 6 of this fast, and I'm really worried about you, man. Like, you're
Mm.
gonna take it too far." And like, I looked at him and I was like, "I love you, and I know that you meant that with the best of intentions. But I have a question for you. Whenever I was 300 pounds and I was shotgunning beers, why didn't you say anything about my health then?
Yes.
Why were you not concerned about me whenever I had my, 7 slice of pizza that night? You know?"
I actually had this conversation with a client yesterday because we were speaking about this, and I was saying, like, should we not be honest in relationships and friendships? Like, if you're overweight, should you not be told instead of just hiding it? And I actually spoke to a few people this week, and I got dogs abuse, especially from women. They were like, "No, you shouldn't be saying that." But for me, if I'm in a relationship and my other half is putting on weight, I won't say it to her in a nasty way. I'll help her, but I think it's right that, because you're not just focusing on the weight aspect, you're focusing more on the health aspect.
Yes, their
You know what I mean?
well-being.
So yeah, because I want these people to live with me for a long, long time. So I don't really care. Like I love her the way she is. Like that will always be the case. But I want her with me long term. I don't want to be visiting her in like 10 years time. And that's what I'm worried about. So when she does put the weight on, it's not like I'm fat shaming her.
Right.
I'm trying to break it to her in a nice way that I just don't want to see you get really, really ill. And maybe if we just cut it down a small bit. And I've noticed with people that when they put on weight, they're very aggressive. Their mood changes. They don't feel good about themselves. And it's like you can change all that by just giving your body the right nutrition, changing your mindset. That all that brain fog goes. You know what I mean? So it's not just about weight. Weight is amazing, but it's not the main thing we should be focusing on. What you see on the
Agreed.
outside is never a true reflection of what you see on the inside. And
Yep.
that's why the diet culture has ruined so many people, because
Yep.
they're only focusing on what you see on the out. We're seeing this now with Ozempic. We're seeing that
Yep.
many people are losing so much weight. They look amazing, but I guarantee if you ask these people, like, how do you really feel, I can guarantee you every single one of them would say I'm miserable.
I know so many people that have done different types of weight loss programs, and it's always contingent on a product. If you stay on that product, then you can do it, whether it's Ozempic, whether it's a meal plan. But it requires you to be monetarily attached to whatever it is that they are selling. And for me, it's like I think that one of the reasons why I am as optimistic and I do have the mental clarity, the just the overall energy, and I feel as positive about all this as I do is because I know that I've done the work and I detoxed myself. and I moved
Mm.
myself forward. So there's a level of self-respect involved too.
Yeah,
I
yes.
respect myself so much more than I did six months ago. And it didn't
Yes.
happen overnight, but it's like you get one body. You only get
Mm-hmm.
one. You get one
Mm-hmm.
life. You only get
Mm-hmm.
one. And so the funny thing about it though is like food is one of the only things that you get to absolutely choose for yourself, no
Exactly.
matter what. There's a
Yeah.
small list of things in this world that you get to make every choice for, and what you
Mm.
put inside of your body is one of them.
Mm.
Um, I was um, I was watching this thing on TikTok. I forget who it was. There was this gentleman who was talking about people that are really out of shape versus people that are really in shape, and he made a theory. He's like, I believe that the reason people that are really out of shape don't aren't trying to get into shape and to reverse that is because they don't know what life is like on the other side,
Yes.
and that if they did, they would abandon everything and they would
Yeah.
run towards that quality of life. And that's something that really, really resonated with me. It's like, again, do I miss pizza? Do I miss like devouring a sleeve of Oreos while I'm playing a video game till 2 o'clock? Sure, it was fun. But like
Mm.
at the same time, like the quality of life I have on this side of it,
Mm.
oh my God, I'm just going to run towards it as hard and fast as I possibly can. Because to me, that's it's self-respect, it's self-love, it's taking care of your one body, it's increasing your
Yes.
longevity. I have 7-year-old twin girls. I want to be around for them in their lives as long as I possibly can. I want them to have a healthy dad, a fit dad.
Mm.
And for all of the parents out here, this is like another thing. Kids do what they see, not what they're told. Period.
Absolutely. 100%.
Period.
Yeah.
If they see dad devouring his fourth sleeve of cookies and then saying maybe you should be healthier than dad was, that's not
Mm-hmm.
then they will just do exactly what they see me do. The do as I say, not as I do thing is completely false.
Mm.
If they see dad eating well, being conscious of his health, going on a jog, going to the gym, doing something that's not just a sedentary life to where he's just sitting around letting his health and his body waste away, they will do that. So for the
Mm.
parents here and I think a lot about my children and what life do I want for them. So I must start to embody that myself.
Yeah.
And
100%.
anything else, I just feel like that's me missing it as a father. If I'm not willing to step up and do the work to embody and become what I want for them, that's kind of my whole purpose here, right? You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've nailed it. 100%. That's the way it should be. It's like when you get to a stage where you have family, you can't be selfish anymore. It's not about you anymore. It's not about your ego. It's not about looking a certain way. You have responsibilities now. So this is where you take your health into consideration and you take your family's health into consideration. And there's something going wrong, you need to address it. And you need to
Yeah.
address it the right way. And that's what I believe in. I believe that's what we should all be doing because that's what's going to make you a better person going forward. You're going to be a stronger role model to your kids. You're going to be a great partner towards your wife or your husband.
Yeah.
I mean, so many things are going to be improved in your life because I only spoke to a lady. I think she's on at the moment, Selena. She put up a post there the other day about people actually lose their sex drive as they get older, but
Yep.
they never look at the diet. They never look at, okay, what are
Ain't
they
that
eating?
something?
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's incredible because that's something that I see at the moment. A lot of women and men come on and they're always going on about their relationships, and it feels like you're one of those people that you feel like you're a therapist or something like that, but you can understand where they're going, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna work with you, but I need to work with your wife also. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna be eating this way, you need to make sure your wife is eating this way because if she's not eating the same way, this relationship is never gonna work.
Yeah.
You know what
I
I
think
mean?
that there's a double-sided uh I think that dynamic has two sides there because I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable and give you a bit about my marital history and some of the dynamics there. It plays in here perfectly. I was married for 8 years and we got a divorce 3 years ago, and there was a lot of dynamics that happened within that marriage that contributed to the slow decline of it, right? It was death by a thousand cuts. No one cheated or no one was abused or like those types of things. It was just we drifted apart. We kind of fell out of love, and then the fighting, and then just the relationship deteriorated from the inside out, right? One of the things that used to happen is I would go through these periods where I would try to get back into the gym. I would try to be really health conscious again, and my wife at the time wasn't on board with that. So like then we started going like that, and then I would come back from. There was this one day I remember this so distinctly. I came back from the gym, and there was a fresh plate of pizza rolls there, and for me, it's like that that was just the thing. It's like, how am I supposed to not have some pizza rolls? And there was a period of my life where I blamed her for my lack of discipline. And I think if you have a partner that's supporting you, that is optimal. Period. But make no mistake, your health is your responsibility. And
Absolutely.
that's where I failed. I failed as a man there because I wanted to put blame on my spouse because I wasn't taking responsibility for my health,
Yes.
my weight, my diet. And
Mhm.
so I think that there is a level of mental fortitude you have to have, and it's developed.
Mhm.
It's not something you have it or you don't. You grow into it. You build it just like a
Mhm.
muscle to where
Mhm.
now you're not focused on what's everyone else doing. You're focused
Mhm.
on what you are doing.
Yes.
And I'm at a place now to where I will never put my health on anyone. How selfish was that of me to look at
Mhm.
my partner and say, because you don't have the same goals as me, I'm just going to not do anything about it,
Mhm.
and then also I'm going to blame you for it.
Mhm.
Like that was terribly unhealthy, terribly
Mhm.
unhealthy.
Mhm.
And then I think the flip side of that, especially for people in a long term relationship, is like the level of attraction that does kind of like come and go, right? It's like you guys go through different seasons of life. Some put on weight, some lose weight. If you have kids, it changes everything too. There's different levels of what attraction is. But for me, I know that like I feel like in my previous marriage, I didn't prioritize my health. She didn't prioritize hers. Our level of attraction for each other faded.
Mhm.
And to me, thinking about it now, in the moment, I didn't see it that way at all. But it's like if you go up to a person and you say, "Hey, choose me, only me, for the
Mhm.
rest of your life, no one
Mhm.
else. Let's be
Mhm.
faithful. I'm gonna let myself go, though,
Mhm.
and I'm not gonna be the same person. If you choose me today, in 6 months, I'm gonna look like someone different.
Mhm.
I'm not going to prioritize my health. I'm going to slowly become so unhealthy that now my health has become a burden, potentially, but still just choose me though. It's like,
Yes.
well, what kind of a dynamic are you setting up? You're setting
Mhm.
up a dynamic to where your relationship is going to slowly crumble and come apart at the seams
Mhm.
versus like the idea. And I think what's optimal is two people that come together and they say, we're going to move preferably towards the same goal. We're going to support each other, but then it's
Mhm.
the pursuit of betterment. It's the pursuit of making yourself healthier, the mentally, physically, the pursuit of like, you guys moving together for comparable goals in the name of progress, mental, spiritual,
Absolutely.
physical, financial, etc.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I 100% agree with you. And it's like Brian said at the bottom, you just have to man up. Like if you're in a situation where you feel like you're doing something wrong, like you said, you cannot blame it on anybody else. You
Can't do
have
it.
to look at yourself. You have to look at yourself and say, well, hang on a second. Am I in the wrong there? Do I need to fix myself first? I can't say to somebody, okay, listen, you need to change your life if my life is like shit. it's
Right.
it's never it's never going to work. So you have to look
Right.
at it from both sides and say, okay, listen, let's sit down, let's have the discussion. But talking can work, but you need to feed your body what it needs in order for you to have that right conversation. Because anybody can sit down and have a conversation and everything goes really, really well, but then the next day it starts all over again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people will have those conversations and they will like, okay, conversation over, let's order a curry or let's order a takeaway. No,
Yeah,
you're making the situation worse. What you should do is should take a step back and say, okay, well, hang on a second. Is my weight actually have an effect on our moods, on our arguments? You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Is the food
Absolutely.
that I'm eating on a daily basis, is this what's triggering why we're fighting on a regular basis, why we haven't got a sex life anymore? You know what I mean? We need to look at the bigger root of the problem here, because it's not always down to just talking. You know what I mean? And then when it comes to the sexual side, a lot of people are just having sex, and it's not actually love, it's just sex.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
like so it's like after violent arguments, let's just have sex and then that's it. It's all over, but it's not actual love. You're not actually communicating with your partner. So I
Right.
think that's where the issue is. It's like, okay, well, hang on a second. That's not the same. That's not a relationship, because that relationship will not last. So you need to look at it, and that's what we need to be focused on.
I will tell you flatly too, on the days where I was at my heaviest, and then I would be getting dressed in the morning, and just my clothes aren't fitting good, and like I'm thinking like I'm spilling out of the shirt, or the pants are too tight. I don't feel good about myself. And then like even if I walk out of the bedroom and see my girlfriend or my wife or whoever, and it's like they're not responsible for what happened with my body image, but like the lack of confidence, the shame that I feel is will without a doubt, no
Mm,
exception, will color your view of the world from that point on. So
mm,
then you're carrying feelings of shame, you're carrying feelings of guilt. And then whenever you see your spouse and then y'all have like a disagreement, well, now here's an outlet for like some of these negative feelings that I've been feeling because of my body image.
mm,
And like that's like a big part, I think, of like just maintaining yourself for not only for yourself, but if you're in a committed relationship, then you maintain yourself for your partner too. And I think that
absolutely.
there's a responsibility there, and people have that's been demonized, right? It's
Mm,
like people have this idea of like, well, you should only change for you, and I believe that you should, but at the same time, if you look at someone and say, commit to me, only
mm,
me, now
mm,
you're in an agreement. You're in a partnership. Now there's
absolutely.
accountability both ways for the mental, the physical, the spiritual, the financial, all of that. The four pillars of
Yes.
health, right? And so
Yes.
to
Yes.
neglect a part of that because you feel like maybe it's catering towards them, I think you're setting yourself up for failure in the long run most of the time.
100%, 100%, and it's like the attraction is. I mean, the attraction will always be there, regardless whether they're overweight or they're underweight. But it's
Yeah.
how it's how you get treated. Like if you're treating me like crap, then I need to understand why you're treating me like crap. I need to look at it and say, okay, hang on a second, before we end this relationship, maybe you're drinking too much caffeine, maybe you're eating too much sugar. We need to look a little bit deeper before we end this relationship, because this could be saved easily, instead of just having an argument and talking our way through it, and it's going to happen on a regular basis. Let's just have a look at what you're eating. Maybe if you cut down on those biscuits, or you stop eating this crap food anymore, or I mean, maybe if you go for a walk, instead of just, I won't say to you go to the gym, but maybe we just go for a walk. You know what I mean? Instead of just sitting in all day and looking at your phone, because that's another big thing. People, when they get into an argument, they
Huge.
sit on their phone all day. They're not communicating with each other anymore. And when they are communicating with each other, it's through the phone. So one
Yeah.
person's going to be in the other room. You're going to be in here, and there's no communication there. And then she's probably inside, feeling sorry for herself. She's probably chewing on a bar of chocolate while you're out here probably having a beer or something like that. So it's not
And then
making the
the
situation
situation
any
gets
better.
worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then what happens is the amount of sugar you put into your body, especially for men, your testosterone lowers.
Drop. Yeah.
You know, I mean, women's progesterone, estrogen, they're all getting messed up. Your hormones are getting messed up. Women don't feel sexy anymore. Then it affects their menstrual cycle, affects their hormones, affects the way they
Mhm.
look. You know what I mean? And it's like, then women put this pressure on themselves. Oh, I need to go to the gym. I need to look a certain way. I need to go to the gym and try and impress my man. No, that's the worst thing you can do. Sit down, focus on the root of the problem first. Don't try and impress your man just by going to the gym. That's not gonna,
Agreed.
just because you look a certain way, that's not what's gonna help going forward.
Agreed. And then on the male side of it, our if testosterone drops, our desire to pursue our partner is going to diminish as well. Our desire to keep climbing the corporate ladder at work, our desire to go conquer, to go build, to go just go do all of the man stuff, that's going to go down too. That's going to
Mm,
diminish our level of attractiveness to our partner as well. So it's a cycle. It's 100% a cycle, and it's something that people don't understand how much their diet feeds the deterioration of their relationships, their quality of life.
mm,
Everything
mm,
is connected 100%. And again, I think whenever we talk about that carnivore diet, I think that it's something that can easily be seen as like a weight loss focus only thing.
mm,
But then
mm,
to a point that you made, there's so much more to your overall wellness and health. And this is one of the pillars that goes into this, but and what you put into your body, that's your fuel. You put tainted gasoline into your car, it ain't gonna run right,
mm, mm,
and so then what you focus on tire pressure, though, it's like it's not getting the proper fuel. So
mm,
it starts
mm,
there. 100% starts there. And I would really encourage anyone that's not started this yet, if you're interested, do 30 days strict. just
mm,
just no sugar, no carbs. Anyone can do anything for 30 days. Do that
mm,
strict, cut it out. Don't promise or guarantee day 31. Commit to 30 days
mm,
only. And if you will do that, you will see the mental clarity, the brain fog that does not exist, the energy, the weight loss. You will see these benefits, and you'll start to get a glimpse of what the other side of life is like. And
mm,
I've never seen anyone that's given 30 days strict that hasn't stayed on it,
mm.
myself included. 6 months, 71 pounds later, I'm still here doing this with you, and I have no plans on stopping.
100%. Like I mentioned earlier on, this is I celebrated my 4 year anniversary now in May, and
Congratulations. It's awesome.
honestly, now don't get me wrong. I have experimented on myself a few times. Like I've added in the fruits and I've added in dark chocolate. I've added in a few things, and I think it's important to
Sure.
do that just to see how your body reacts.
Yeah.
I don't think I can ever be one of those moderators ever again. Like for me, I had a massive sugar addiction now, and now I understand why I can't get away with that anymore. So for
Yeah.
me, I will always be carnivore. I don't think I miss those foods at all. There's the odd time I would like a bit of dark chocolate, but I know in my mind I'm thinking about, okay, the last time I had that, it really upset my stomach, and I don't want to go through that again. I think that's important. I think it's important that when you get into deep into carnivore, it's no harm to do a little bit of experiments on yourself just to see what works and
Yeah.
what doesn't. But yeah, I think the more people that actually trial this and just try it for yourself, when you see improvements happen within a couple of days, like we're talking like 2 or 3 days, your gut issues are going to be
The bloat's
perfect.
gone.
The
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 energy. Yeah.
Yeah, energy is going to be on top. Like your brain fog is gone. All the inflammation out of your body's going to start coming out of your body real quickly. It's just going to be insane. And then like 6 months later, a year later, you're going to be on top of the world. Like I feel like 20 years younger doing this.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean,
Like,
I think that you touched on something that's so important, man. You mentioned that you started experimenting with adding stuff back in. I think that ultimately, I'm not a doctor. I don't have any medical degrees, so I'm not trying to speak in the name of like that kind of medical science per se. But what I will say, and I think everyone can universally agree, that people's bodies are very unique. They're very
mm,
different. What works for you may not work for me in the same way. People are just unique in that way. And so you going down this road and figuring you out is so crucial. It's the same way that you discover who you are in life, what's your interest. Like you going and doing just small, either you're adding something or you're taking it away or you're figuring out what works for you. That's a huge part of the sustainability of it. Whenever you're
mm,
given just this list, here's the list. You have to do these things. Do not deviate.
Mm,
Now it's like,
mm,
oh my God, that's really rigid. That's really, and it kind of, it can help you start to kind of creep into like, okay, well now I'm just focused on what I can't do, right?
yes.
And so like for you going down a path of like adding in some fruits and some chocolate and like trying to figure out what is that like,
Mm,
and then how does it affect you? And now you're making a decision of what to have or what not to have from a place
mm,
of education, experience,
mm,
intelligence. You're
mm.
speaking from a place of knowledge. You're not just blindly following a list because like some guy on YouTube said you can never have raw honey. So now you just
Exactly.
never have
Yeah.
it, right?
Yes.
There's a difference in between you just following versus like you kind of started to like you got the framework, you got it down. You're a few months into this, you're seeing results, energy's great, the weight loss is there, and now you're kind of trying to figure out, okay, well, where are my guardrails? What can I do? How do I make this? How do I make this sustainable for my life?
Mm,
And that I
mm.
think is where most people fall off whenever it's just such a strict, repetitive for so long, but they never got the conviction though.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, for me, I catch the conviction whenever I see that, hey, I've gone down another belt loop. So for me, that's my fuel, you know. But
Yes.
that being said, I've also kind of experimented with like a pimento cheese. It's not carnivore, but it's very low in carbohydrates, or
Yeah.
sour cream or
Mm,
something, or you know, the rotisserie chickens from Sam's. There's an energy drink here called Ghost. It's like 10 calories, 2 carbs,
mm,
no
mm,
sugar. My favorite energy drink I've ever had. Too
mm,
many of those, and I start to
mm.
see the positive effects kind of ease up. So it's like you
Yes.
just kind of start to spread a little bit to kind of figure out what works, what doesn't, and then it becomes your own personal style of it and brand of it. But
Hmm.
again, now you're operating from a place of knowledge and competency. You're
Yes.
not operating from blind submission to what someone said. And I think that is a key component in making it sustainable.
Yeah. 100%. Like you're nobody's telling you what to do. You're just experimenting all this yourself. Like nobody's gonna tell me like, listen, you can't have this and you can't have that. It's my choice. At the end of the day, it's your choice. If you want to have a bit of fruit or if you want to go off plan, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But if it has an issue on you and it affects you and it puts you into a mood or makes you angry or stuff like that, then you need to be honest with yourself. Okay, do I really need this in my life? You know what I mean? That's for me. Like when I had sugar, any kind of sugar, that's where I noticed, okay, I'm getting a little bit aggressive here. My mood is
Yeah,
changing and I don't like this. I like when anything that sugar hits my system, I can't explain it. I feel aggressive. I
yeah,
feel like I don't get on well with people. Whereas when I don't have sugar in my diet, I can talk to anybody. Like I only met you today. I reached out to you a couple of days ago, and that
mhm,
I would have never done that if I had sugar in my system. I would have said, listen, like I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know these people. You know what I mean? But
fair.
now I've joined a carnivore community.
Mhm.
I'm interviewing at least 4 or 5 people a week.
That's awesome.
I have my own podcast. I'm on another podcast with two other guys. I'm speaking to a lot of people in the community, and it's absolutely amazing. It really is
Yeah,
amazing. It's because
that's
I
awesome.
know it's not. I know it's not just about me. There's other people that are doing this. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And now I'm going to my first public speaking event next month, and then I have another public speaking event in September. So it's
Awesome.
just I'm meeting these people that I've always followed, like the likes of Kilts, Sean Baker. I'm gonna be meeting these people in real life very, very soon. And
That's
it's
awesome.
just like, and I can't wait to explain to these people how they've actually had a massive impact on my life.
That's kind of a similar story that I think that we are going to share as well, is that, you know, we are walking testimonials of what honest, introspective reflection is, of what awareness of your health is, what the carnivore diet can do, what this lifestyle is. And so
Mm,
people see us, especially people that knew us before we got started on this too. It'll serve as that type of an example. And there's so many people that like are just they're scared to try this. They
mm,
want to. They've heard about it, there's just so much negative press whenever it comes to cholesterol, or a lot of influence from vegan and vegetarian that are against me. There's so many different negative things out there speaking out against it, yet the results are there, yet the effects are very clear. There's so many
Mm,
people like you, like me, that have these stories of what it did for us in our life, that
mm,
it's like you there's negative PR, there's negative press, but at the same time, there's testimonials. So
mm,
we get to kind of help illuminate this world some, and that's really kind of the name of my game, right? Like, I think that there's a lot of people that start trying to do like social media stuff from like more of they have their own reasons for it, right? But I think for me, it's like there's there's good people I know that are trying to figure out a way to get their health under control, and they're running down all of these roads that are just they're dead ends. They are buying these terrible products, these terrible pills or powders that are not sustainable. They're throwing hundreds, potentially thousands of dollars away per month pursuing this thing. And it's like the answer's right here.
mm,
And you will save more money doing something like a carnivore lifestyle than Ozempic, than Plexus or Herbalife, or all of these other programs where there's a reoccurring monthly fee to go spend to go get that product, to go maybe lose a few pounds of water weight. Right?
mm,
It's just not even comparable, man. It's really not.
mm. No, 100%, 100%. Well, Robbie, I want to be respectful of your time because I think we've been on this for 90 minutes, but honestly, I could talk to you for ages. And
Same.
before I let you go, tell me about what are you doing at the moment? Are you doing one meal a day or are you doing 2 meal a day? And what are you eating at the moment?
Right. So the last couple days, and again, I'm not following this really, restricted thing. It's kind of a day-to-day thing. Right now I'm doing probably 2 meals a day. I've been doing ground beef. I'll mix it in. I will pre-cook it, and then I'll heat it up inside of a skillet. I try to avoid microwaves as much as I can these days. I'll throw a couple of eggs in there. I'll do a beef and egg scramble, a little bit of like Cholula in there, and then that's really it, man. It's very simple. It's very cost effective, and a little goes a long way. I'll do black coffee. I'll do water, and I'll have that probably twice a day. And then next week I'll probably go buy like a whole bunch of steaks or something, and then I'll
Mm,
have probably a steak a day. If I'm doing poultry or fish, I'll eat more. I just seem to digest that way faster. So
mm.
like an 8 ounce steak versus 8 ounces of like tuna, like I will be so hungry in half of the time from eating the tuna versus beef,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So depending on what I'm doing there. But that's really it. It's not exciting. There's no magic to it. It's just rinse and repeat.
But it works. That's the most important thing.
It works better than anything I've ever found. And I don't think about it. I don't obsess over it. It's just a part of my life, and then I can move forward. I can focus on everything else. And that's probably one of the biggest things, right quick, just one of the reasons why I've stayed on this as long as I have has been as easy that with anything else I've ever done, it kind of consumes your whole world. Like it's something you think about nonstop. And for me, it's not that way. I'll have a quick meal in the morning, maybe, or maybe I might wait till noon, maybe I might wait till 5. It
Mm,
depends on my level of hunger and my level of activity that day.
mm.
And then I just don't think about it.
Yeah.
And then if I have to skip a meal, I'm not just dramatically hungry to where my energy drops. I just can't do anything. It's like, yeah, you feel the hunger, but you're not like just depleted of energy and you're crawling around famished. Like it's fine. If you
Well,
go a few hours or a day without the amount of food that you want, your body responds to it very differently than it would otherwise.
but like you mentioned earlier on about fasting, like I was never a big fan of fasting, but I can easily fast for 2 or 3 days on this.
Easy.
Easily. Easily. I mean,
You don't even think about it.
I wake up most mornings at 3 a.m. and I won't have my first meal until around 12 o'clock. And I've done a little bit of work in the morning. I've gone to the gym. I've done everything that I need to do, and I'm still not thinking about any food at all. Now, if you had said to me that like 5, 6 years ago when I was eating the standard Irish diet or the
Yeah,
American diet,
it'd be terrible.
honestly, I would have been struggling. After an hour, I would have had my oats in the morning, my fruits, my protein shake. I would have been honestly, I would have been. There's been times I've actually said this before. There's been times I would wake up in the middle of the night and I'd have to have a protein shake and a banana because I'd be that hungry.
I think that the American diet has kind of trained people's body to desire more food than it actually needs. And I think that, again, once you break this, you get out of the food matrix.
Mm,
You get out of the big pharma matrix, and suddenly your health is in your control, and you
yeah.
start to make these leaps forward, these big jumps forward as far as your health goes, and you start to see how your body really works, what it really needs, not what you've been chemically or psychologically programmed to think it needs,
Mm,
how it actually works. Whenever you're not hungry after not having eaten for 18 hours and you're still fine, but your energy is solid still,
mm,
like that would never happen to me before I started this. It's like every 4 to 5 hours, like you're just getting hungry and you just want to snack on something.
mm.
So I don't know, for whatever it's worth, I'm out of the food matrix. I'm never going to go back. And I hope as many people as are willing will join us on this journey and get out of it and take control of their lives back too. But thank you
Well
for
said.
having me. It's really, really good to meet you, sir. I appreciate your time. Your story is great, and I look forward to everything that's to come.
Absolutely. And before I let you go, where can people go to find you?
Yeah, so you guys can find me across all of the platforms. The handle is Brown to Pound. So you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Type in Brown to Pound. There should not be too many other people with that moniker or handle, so it should be pretty easy to find. I'm trying to get as much relative information and content out there as possible. Just really, again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not trying to like corral people into one specific thing or the other. I'm trying to share what my experience has been, how I did it, the logistics of my day to day, how I actually accomplished over 70 pounds of loss in 6 months, hard sustainable fat, right? So that's the name of my game, Brown and Pound.
Amazing. I'm hoping and as I said, I've watched a bit of your content. You're doing amazing. You're spreading the
Thank
message, and that's all you can do. And keep going.
you. It's fulfilling enough.
Speak soon, Robbie.
All right. Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
See you soon. Bye bye.